back together. Mr. Speaker, at this time I'd like to yield 3 minutes to the gentleman from Oregon, Mr. DeFazio.
Gentleman from Oregon is recognized for 3 minutes.
I thank the gentleman for the time. October 1st, 2003. What's important about that date? That's the date that the last highway bill expired. Here we are, almost a year later. Legislation that sets the course of all spending on roads, bridges, highways, mass transit in the United States of America has been in suspended animation, working under a 7-year-old law for the last 11 months. Now, I guess, if the Republicans controlled things, things wouldn't be like that. That's the kind of thing we hear around here all the time. They control the White House, the Department of Transportation, the House, and the Senate. The White House is lowballing the number and underinvesting in America. They only want to spend $259 billion. They want to take our gas tax money and spend it on other things instead of transportation. Now, the House did a little better, 283, not enough, but they did better. But they don't want to confront the president in an election year. We could roll him easily. It'd be embarrassing, though, just before the election for him to be against jobs and investment in America and spending gas taxes on the purposes for which it was collected. And the Senate did a lot better yet, $318 billion. Then, of course, there was a unanimous bipartisan vote of the Transportation Committee on which I serve, where we voted unanimously for $379 billion, $120 billion more than the president is willing to spend. Because that's what the president's Department of Transportation said is necessary to take care of the problems in New York and other states. We need another $120 billion over what the president's asking for to deal with those problems. It's disingenuous to get up here and say, oh, if we follow these lower numbers, nothing is being heard. We're foregoing new starts. We're foregoing new investment. We're foregoing additional investment that the president's own Department of Transportation says is necessary. Why? Why are we doing that? We collect gas taxes from each and every American every time they fill up their car, a bunch of them. And that money is supposed to be spent on roads, bridges, and highways. You've seen the potholes. I've got failing bridges in my district. We could put hundreds of thousands of people to work tomorrow if we had more investment and more spending. I can't understand why they won't spend our gas tax money to put people to work and meet needed investment in our infrastructure. So I stand here saying, we should be doing more than just this continuing resolution, obviously. We should have, sometime in the last 11 months, the Republicans should have been able to get their act together and agree on a highway bill. That hasn't happened. Well, if we can't do that, at least let's put a little more money in there, put a few more people back to work, begin to address some of these problems that are out there, begin to take care of some of the new starts that New York has asked for that can't go forward under this legislation. You can't say, oh, the transportation experts in New York say this is going to take care of all the problems. It isn't. It isn't even beginning to address the backlog of problems.
Gentleman's recognized for additional 2 minutes.
Failing roads and bridges. Now, another interesting statistic from the president's own Department of Transportation is that for every $1 billion we spend on roads, bridges, highways, mass transit, we create 47,500 jobs. Not just construction jobs, but those are good jobs and good wage jobs, and guess what? They can't be outsourced to another country. That's a really good thing about those jobs. But what it also does is it spills over into communities and small businesses. The suppliers, the contractors, the equipment operators, they're all local. They're locally based. It helps our local communities who need more jobs and investment. It helps small businesses. 47,500 jobs. So that means by walking away from the higher numbers proposed by the Senate, that's $318 billion, that we're foregoing $34 billion investment that's needed to repair our failing bridges, roads, highways, and our mass transit inadequacies, new starts in New York and other states. So can't do the math quite here, but 34 times 47 sounds like a heck of a lot of jobs to me, somewhere around 1.5 million jobs. This country could use another 1.5 million jobs. In fact, if the president would sign a bill at that higher number, then he could say he delivered on his promise of creating 2 million jobs during his presidency. Right now he's kind of short on that. So, this is, at best a absolutely minimal stopgap that is not meeting the real needs of Americans. that's not putting people back to work, that isn't spending their gas tax money in the manner in which it was intended when it was collected and extracted from them when they bought gas at the pump. So I would say we have apparently no alternative but to support this inadequate level of funding. But the American people should be aware it is inadequate. It does mean no new starts. It does mean that we're not going to address a whole bunch of problems all around the country, and we can do better. Thank you. I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman's time has expired. Gentleman from New York.
Mr. Speaker,